Hi guys. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about dot plots. So dot plots is a way that we are able to display the data that we have collected, and we can put it in a more concise picture so we can see all of our data visually, and so we can put it in order naturally, stuff like that. So I put up a dot plot up here on my board. So a dot plot is literally just a number line where each dot is going to represent either one person or it's going to represent one piece of information. So in this situation, I'm saying my dot plot is talking about pieces of candy eaten today. So in that situation, every dot would be a person answering, how many pieces of candy have you eaten today? And these are the data points that I've received. So every single dot is going to be one person, and it also in turn is one number that is in my data set. So let's look at our dot plot and gather our data. So we're going to start over here. We have the number 3. So every dot over the number 3 is one number. So I have 2 dots over the 3. So in my data set, I have 2 3s. So I should have 3, 3. I have 1 dot over 4. So I'm going to have 1 4 in my data set. I have 4 5s. So I have 4 5s in my data set. I have 3 dots above 6. So I should have 3 6. I have 2 7s. I have 1 dot above 8. And I have 2 dots above 9. If I had a number on my number line that did not have a dot, that just means that the number has to be in order for the number line, but no one answered that when gathering data. So it's okay. So if I erased the dot above 8, then it just means I have no 8s in my data set. So I would be able to erase that. We're going to keep it in there just for the sake of we already wrote our data. But just so you know, if I did have no dot above 8, I would just skip that and I would not have that number because no one answered 8. But when I'm doing a number line, I have to write it because I'm writing I'm writing the numbers in order. Okay, so every dot represents one person. So 2 people ate 3 pieces of candy today. So how many total people were surveyed for this topic? You can either just count your dots. It is not these numbers down here. It is our dots. Or you can write out your numbers and count those. I find it easier just to count the dots. I don't care what number it is right now. I'm just trying to say how many of them are there. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, now we're going to look at our data set and we are going to be able to solve for our 4 measures of central tendency. So I have mean, median, mode, and range. When talking about dot plots, there are 2 that are super easy to find. The mode is the easiest. So when we're talking about a mode, remember, mode means most. It's the number that happens the most often. When we have our dot plot set up and every dot is kind of in line with the other one, so all my first dots are kind of in the same line. All my second dots are relatively in the same line. So then I can judge their heights. I shouldn't have a dot 1 here and then my second dot be up here. They need to be evenly spaced. So when they're set up correctly, where they're evenly spaced, they're mostly in line, I'm going to look for whatever tower is the tallest because the tallest tower has the most dots. And if it has the most dots, it's the number that occurs the most often. So if you look at this tower has 2, this tower has 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2. So the tower with the 4 happens 4 times. So that happens the most often. Your answer is not 4. Your answer is whatever those 4 dots is above. So my mode is going to be 5 because that is my tallest tower. If you have multiple towers that are the same height that are the tallest, then you just have multiple modes. You can also have no mode if every tower had 2 numbers or every tower just had 1. Typically, we wouldn't do a dot plot if it was all the same amount of numbers, though. Typically, dot plots have a lot of variance. Okay, the next one that is super easy is my range. So remember, range is the distance between my smallest number in my data set and my largest number in my data set. So if I'm looking at my number line, I'm going to look for the smallest number that has a dot, and I'm going to look for the biggest number that has a dot. So my largest number with a dot is 9. My smallest number with a dot is 3. And to find a range, we subtract them. So my range is 6 because I did 9, because it's my largest number. I did 3, which is my smallest number. 9 take away 3 is 6. If you wrote out your data, you can also do 9 take away 3 because it's automatically going to be in order from least to greatest if you followed this pattern. But you don't actually have to write out your data to be able to use this dot plot. Okay, median. Median is the middle of our data set. Remember when I talked about the highway where I said the median is that middle barrier in the highway that splits up the 2 sides? The median of my data set is that middle number that splits up those 2 sides. So you can either write out your data set and do your rainbow like we did last time, or since it's in a dot form, you can take your fingers and just count your dots inward. I'm trying to find either the 1 number in the middle or the 2 numbers in the middle if it's an even data set. So I'm going to start out here. The 3 and the 9 matches. This 3 and this 9. 4 and 8. 5 and 7. 5 and 7. 5 and 6. 5 and 6. And so I have 1 dot left over that doesn't have a pair, and that is my median. So my median is going to be whatever number that dot is above. So my median is 6. The last one, and this one that actually has a little bit of math to it, is our mean. So remember, mean is just another way that we say average. So we are going to add up all of our data set and divide by however many numbers are in our data set. So I have my calculator. I'm going to add them all up. So please add it with me. We have 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. So I'm going to add 5 4 times plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 9. I was just double checking that I added up the 15 numbers on my calculator, which I did because we know that there's 15 numbers in my data set. We already figured that out. So when I hit equal, my sum is 88. So my sum is 88. Is that my final answer? No, we have one more step to be able to find the mean. So now we take our sum and I'm going to divide it by however many numbers I added. So once again, I could count my dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm going to divide by 15. So in your calculator, divide by 15. And I get a repeating decimal, and it's 5 and 86 hundredths with a 6 repeating. Your calculator is going to round it to a 7 at the end. It's just because your calculator has to end at some point. So it does round, but if it shows 6s all the way across and the last number is a 7, it's just because your calculator had to end it. So it rounded, but it is a repeating decimal. So it's 5 and 86 hundredths with the 6 repeating. Okay, so once again, dot plots. We put it on a number line. Each dot represents a number in my data set. I'm going to, I say that these 2 dots are 2 3s in my data. If I had a number with a missing dot, I would just skip it and I would say I have no 4s. I can use a dot plot to help me find my measures of central tendency by following along, either by writing your data set and doing it the other way that we talked about last week, or you can just use your dots. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.